3 men are facing murder charges for killing 26-year-old India Kinamore and her unborn child.
My name is Terry Kinamore. I'm India's mother.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Behind the glass sits a pain that can't be seen but heard. For Terry Kinamore, that heartbreak dates back to March 2023.
I got the phone call from my grandson to say my mommy has been shot.
26-year-old India Kinamore was pregnant.
Scheduled to be induced the same morning as the murder.
It would take almost 2.5 years for charges to come. 3 men, 20-year-old Robert Irving, 30-year-old Kayvon Warren, and 22-year-old Lamar Morris Suggs.
Conspiring to come up with this plan to kill Miss Kinamore and her unborn child.
Irving and Warren spent their Friday morning in front of a judge. Inside this courtroom, we learned the fatal family ties.
Mr. Warren was involved in a relationship with the victim. The victim was pregnant, and that at some point the evidence that has been uncovered was that he wanted her to terminate that pregnancy.
By the way, they don't say that he's a shooter. They claim there's a conspiracy. They claim that Lamar Suggs is a shooter. Give him a high bond.
But this fierce mom had words for Warren.
I don't think he should see the light of day until this case is solved. That's what I would ask of this court.
Warren and Irvin are being held on a $600,000 bond. Suggs not in court today because he was already in prison on an unrelated weapons charge.
It was a quiet March morning in Cincinnati, Ohio. The kind of stillness that feels peaceful until it isn't. Just after 7 a.m., a neighbor noticed India's front door slightly open. Inside, the lights were still on. She called out, but no one answered. When police arrived, they found a scene that would haunt them for years. 26-year-old India Kinamore, 8 months pregnant, lay lifeless on her living room floor. Her hospital bag sat packed by the door, tiny baby clothes, a blanket, and a pair of pink socks still folded neatly inside. She was supposed to be induced that morning. Instead, her home had become a crime scene. Detectives moved cautiously through the small house. There were no signs of a break-in, no ransacked drawers, no stolen valuables. It wasn't a robbery, it was something personal. A few feet away, they found her phone still glowing on the counter, a half-written message unsent. Upstairs, her 6-year-old child sat trembling, unable to speak. As investigators examined the body, one detail stood out: India had been shot multiple times. Whoever did this wanted her gone. And as the coroner covered her body, one chilling truth settled over the room: her unborn son, due to be born within hours, was gone too. The question wasn't just who could do this, but why someone would want to destroy an entire future in one night. This was no random act. It was a calculated betrayal. And the story that would unfold over the next few months would expose the darkness that lived closest to her heart. Before the tragedy, India Kinamore was known for her smile, bright, warm, the kind that could make a room feel lighter. She worked hard, raised her son with devotion, and dreamed of giving him a stable, loving home. Those close to her described her as the kind of person who never gave up, even when life made her fight for every ounce of peace. She had faced struggles before, heartbreaks, financial challenges, the uncertainty of single motherhood, but somehow, she always found her way back to hope. When she met Kayvon Warren, she believed she'd finally found that peace. He was charming, protective, and spoke softly, promising to be the man who would stand by her side. To her friends, he seemed like the answer to years of loneliness. But behind that calm exterior, Kayvon hid something darker, an arrogance that fed on control. As the months passed, things began to shift. Small arguments turned into nights of silence. Jealousy grew where affection once lived. And when India discovered she was pregnant, instead of joy, she saw something chilling in his eyes: hesitation, even fear. Still, she tried to hold things together. She believed that once the baby arrived, everything would change, that love would fix what fear had broken. But love alone couldn't save her. Kayvon started to distance himself, avoiding doctor's appointments, ignoring her texts, making excuses not to visit. India confided in friends that she felt abandoned, but she stayed hopeful, telling them, he'll come around once the baby's here. She didn't know that he had other plans. Behind her back, Kayvon began talking to people about getting rid of his problems. At first, no one took him seriously. But to him, India's pregnancy wasn't a gift, it was a trap. One that tied him to responsibility he didn't want. By February 2023, just weeks before her due date, India's family noticed something was off. She looked tired, anxious. Her messages grew shorter, her laughter faded. Still, she was preparing for her baby, washing clothes, setting up the crib, and sharing ultrasound pictures online with the caption, "Almost time." Those would be the last photos she ever posted. She had no idea that the man who once promised to protect her, was already planning how to make sure she never brought that baby home. The weeks before India's death were filled with small warnings, moments that, at the time, seemed harmless. But looking back, each one was a signal of the storm closing in. Kayvon's messages grew colder. His replies became distant, short, impatient. He rarely asked about her pregnancy, and when he did, it was only to question if the baby was really his. Friends noticed the change. India brushed it off, saying he was just stressed, that he'd come around once the baby arrived. But behind the scenes, Kayvon's frustration was turning into something darker. He told a friend that India was ruining his life. He said he couldn't deal with it anymore. Those words would later echo in court, as the beginnings of a plan. India's family had their own worries. Her mother, Terry, sensed something wasn't right. She said India's smile seemed forced, her usual light dimmed. When she asked if everything was okay, India would change the subject. Still, she held on to hope. She prepared her hospital bag, kept her appointments, and texted friends about how excited she was to finally meet her son. But there was one moment that haunted everyone later. Just days before the murder, India told a friend she wanted to talk to Kayvon one last time, to clear the air, before the baby came. No one knew that conversation would be her last. While she prepared for motherhood, Kayvon was preparing something else entirely. He reached out to two men, Robert Irvin and Lamar Suggs, promising them money to handle a problem for him. He told them where India lived, when she'd be alone, and what time to strike. It was no longer just anger. It was premeditation. And while India folded baby clothes and prayed for a peaceful delivery, the man she loved was setting the trap that would end her life.
Hey guys, let's do a pregnancy bump update. So I am now, get this fucking baby out of me, weeks along. The baby is the size of a fucking whale and what sounds like at least 5 painful stitches. My main symptom is bitch.
March 3rd, 2023. India had spent the day preparing for her induction. Her hospital bag was packed. The baby's clothes folded. She texted a friend, "Pray for me tomorrow." It would be her final message. That night, while her 6-year-old son slept, a car circled her neighborhood again and again. Inside were Kayvon Warren, Robert Irvin, and Lamar Suggs. Kayvon's plan was in motion. Around 2 a.m., the car stopped. 2 men stepped out, dressed in black, masks pulled tight. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no damage. Investigators later believed India had opened the door herself, recognizing one of them. Moments later, gunshots shattered the silence. Neighbors heard the pops but dismissed them as fireworks. Inside, chaos. India was shot multiple times in her living room, the same room where she had folded baby clothes hours earlier. Her unborn son never took a breath. Her child hid nearby, frozen in terror. The killers fled quickly. They took nothing. No money, no valuables, just 2 innocent lives. When police arrived, they found her body near the door. Her phone still unlocked. Her bag untouched. It was clear she hadn't expected danger. Detectives knew instantly this wasn't random. It was personal, cold, deliberate, and planned by someone she once trusted. And as the morning sun rose over Cincinnati, the question became chillingly clear. Who could look at a woman hours from giving birth, and pull the trigger? Detectives quickly realized the murder wasn't random, it was precise. No signs of a break-in. No theft. Just execution. They started with India's phone. Her last messages showed calm, everyday plans, baby names, delivery details, a final, pray for me. Then they found messages from Kayvon Warren, the father of her unborn son. The tone was cold, distant. The last one, sent hours before her death, read simply, "I'll stop by later." Within days, surveillance footage surfaced, a dark sedan circling India's block minutes before the shooting. Detectives traced the car to Kayvon's cousin. When questioned, the cousin admitted Kayvon had borrowed it that night. That was the crack that opened everything. Phone records placed Kayvon, Robert Irvin, and Lamar Suggs together near India's home at 2 a.m. Location pings matched the time neighbors heard the shots. Once confronted, Irvin broke first, admitting they'd been there to scare her, but things got out of hand. Police didn't buy it. The evidence was too clean, too coordinated. A search of Kayvon's home uncovered ammunition matching the bullets pulled from India's body. And messages on his phone made his intent undeniable. He had texted Irvin and Suggs days earlier. "She's not about to ruin my life." That message sealed his fate. When confronted with the evidence, Kayvon showed no emotion. He didn't cry, didn't deny. Just sat in silence as detectives laid out every piece of proof. By the end of the week, all three men were arrested and charged with aggravated murder and fetal homicide. The small community that had mourned India's death finally had answers, but no comfort. Because what they learned next was that the person India trusted most was the one who pulled the strings that ended her life. The courtroom was silent as the details of India's murder unfolded. For months, her family had waited for justice, forced to listen as the people responsible tried to twist the truth. Kayvon Warren, Robert Irvin, and Lamar Suggs were each charged with aggravated murder, fetal homicide, and conspiracy. Prosecutors called the killing an act of pure cowardice. During testimony, detectives laid out how Kayvon plotted every detail, from borrowing the car to sending the late-night text that lured India to open the door. The evidence was overwhelming. Surveillance footage, phone records, ammunition, and those damning text messages, "She's not about to ruin my life." The jury didn't take long. Kayvon Warren was found guilty on all counts. So were Irvin and Suggs. When the verdict was read, India's mother, Terry, broke down in tears. She had waited 2 years to hear those words. The men showed no emotion as they were sentenced to life in prison without parole. For India's family, justice had been served. But peace, that was something the courtroom couldn't give. Because no sentence could ever return what was stolen, a daughter, a mother, and a child who never got to take his first breath. Months after the trial, the Kinamore family still struggles to understand how love turned into something so cruel. India's room remains untouched, baby clothes folded neatly on the crib she never got to use. A silent reminder of the future that was stolen. Terry Kinamore visits her daughter's grave every week, leaving fresh flowers and whispering prayers for both India and the unborn baby she called Josiah. For her, justice is only a word. The hole in her heart is forever. The story of India Kinamore is more than another headline. It's a brutal reminder of how quickly love can turn deadly when control and rage take over. And how one woman's dream of motherhood ended at the hands of the man who should have protected her most. Even now, people in Youngstown still talk about India, not just as a victim, but as a mother who loved deeply and fought for her child until the very end. Because in every tragedy like this, there's a haunting question that remains. How many warning signs do we ignore before it's too late? This is Fatal Whispers. If you are moved by India's story, don't let her name fade into silence. Like this video, share it so more people know her truth, and subscribe to Fatal Whispers for more real stories that deserve to be heard. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story. Because every whisper tells a story.